so staticky. And here we go. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is ValentineBardot, and here we talk about weird, bizarre, unusual, unexplainable, mysterious, and every Sunday, hopefully every Sunday, I've actually had to re-record this video, so it might not make it in time for Sunday, which is very upsetting. I had several videos pre-recorded. I was very proud of myself for managing that and having several videos like just ready to go. But upon editing this one, I realized I have several speech issues. But anyways, so welcome back to my channel if you are a returnee. And if you've never been here before, then welcome. Hi. How are you? Actually, how are you to everyone watching my channel, not just if you're new. Every Sunday, I'm going to try to put out my spooky slumber party Sunday. Yay for alliteration. I'm gonna try to get those videos out every Sunday. Man, how are you guys doing with Halloween hunting? I'm having a real hard time finding Halloween out there. I tried to film a Halloween shop with me where I had you guys in the car and we were chatting. We were having a good time. You wouldn't know yet, but we were. I could feel the vibes. We were having a good time. I went to so many places. I went to Target. My Target was completely picked over. Home Goods, TJ Maxx, completely picked over. And then I went to At Home. Oh my gosh. I went to At Home. I was so excited. I was thinking this was going to be my opportunity to get At Home in all of its glory. I feel I've been able to pick up bits and pieces of what At Home has to offer, but not just everything out. Online, it said, majority of the things were in stock. So I was thinking like, okay, I can just get like a quick view of all of their Halloween items. So I walk in, there's the Halloween blow up stuff. Like, I think there were cats, ghosts, Halloween Christmas tree kind of thing going on. I was thinking, heck yes, this is it. Halloween, this is what I'm here for. This is what y'all want to see. This is, this is the good. No, no, it wasn't. The aisles where the Halloween once was just completely taken over by Christmas. I'm talking peppermints. There were 4-foot tall Christmas polar bears standing in the aisles. If you're into polar bears, At Home, go to At Home. There were these giant pink Christmas deer that were actually really cute. It was pretty cute. Pink is my favorite color. I know. Obviously, pink is my favorite color, because it actually is. There were these giant pink and turquoise Christmas deer that were very retro, very vintage, very cute. It's too early. It's too early for Christmas. Way too soon. I was pretty disappointed. So I wanted to do a Halloween shop with me. I think that boat has sailed. I think I've missed out. I do have a Halloween candle review coming up for you guys. I've got a bunch of candles coming in. I mean, a lot. I got a lot of candles coming in. I also tried filming a makeup tutorial. I'm not looking forward to editing that video. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and begin what you are here for. Let's go ahead and do this. Grab something yummy to eat, a tasty little treat, maybe something sweet to drink. Relax, get comfy, get cozy, because tonight we're gonna talk about a creature so pale white it shrieked into the moonlight. Woo! Today is gonna be an actual personal paranormal story time. I'm going to light my candle o' choice, Mr. Jack-o'-lantern. Been saying like, oh, this guy's in stock, they brought it back. He is gone. He sold out real quick. Jack-o'-lantern. Yeah. All right, guys. So let's see where to begin. Long ago, pre-elder goth, I was a sprightly goth, a young, nimble, agile goth, Or let's just say I was 19. At one time in my life, I was 19. When I was 19, I was completely infatuated with a specific individual whom I'm going to call Froggy. Anyways, while I was this young 19-year-old, I was in cosmetology school. I was in a transitional phase. I was halfway living at my mom's house in my hometown and halfway living in a different town, my college town. And he was living in our old hometown. Not only was he living in our old hometown, our parents lived in the same neighborhood. When we first started dating, we really didn't have anywhere to hang out. We didn't have an apartment for us to go to, you know, because we were young adults. We didn't really want to hang out with our parents. We really liked going on little cruises, like little drives through the town. I was a chain smoker for 10 years. I am 3 years cigarette free. Woo, yay! Never ever did I ever think I would actually have it in me to be able to quit. Anyways, back then I was a chain smoker. He just liked driving. He had a Jeep that he was really into. So we would just cruise through the town and we'd be jamming out, listening to music. He was a musician, so he was really into drums and just, you know, just that kind of life. So in order to not waste gas, we would find these little designated spots where we would chill. And most of the time it was in the woods, which sounds kind of weird. We were just hanging out in the woods, but actually it was really romantic. It was really cute. We would get picnic baskets and blankets and drinks, and we would go and find our little spots and set up shop for the night and just kind of hang out, do our thing. We would chat, and it wasn't just the woods. We would meet at like golf courses, and we had this little bridge where we would hang out and eat little snacks and hang out with the ducks till like 3 o'clock in the morning. One of our favorite spots was actually just a couple of houses down the street from my mom's house. In the last video, I talked to you guys about how my mom's house was in the historic district of our old town, and her house was built in 1910, and the homes around her house were even older than ours. And they were large Victorian homes, just like really gorgeous. They had wrought iron fences, really large yards. There was a bunch of really, really old trees that kind of cascaded over the roads. Just a really gorgeous area. It's very close to downtown where all the old historical buildings are, all the antique shops. It's just a nice place to be. It's full of history. It's full of character. I really enjoy places like that. In the historic district, my ex Froggy, his parents actually lived in that same neighborhood. It was further than a couple of blocks. It definitely wasn't like comfortable walking distance, but technically we could walk there if we wanted to. We enjoyed being nearby to our houses. We could hang out really, really late and then just quickly get home. So because this is the older part of town, original structures were there, including the town's original museum, and our town outgrew that museum a long time ago, so it was kind of abandoned. I'm gonna try to plot out the area to give you guys kind of a general idea of what I'm talking about. So say my mom's house is right here towards me. There's a road going right here. My mom's is on this corner, and she's facing you guys. So her house is facing you guys. Here's this street, and there's about 3 houses on this little square cutout of land. And then there's this street that goes by. So across from her were 2 of the oldest homes in my hometown, and they have giant, giant yards. So here where you guys are at is a really, really old home, and then across the street is my mom's. Here's this street, and right here there's a street lamp. There's not a lot of street lamps in this older neighborhood. There's about 2 in this whole area. There's one more right here, and then there's a road going here. So there's a road that kind of like tees like this, like boop, road. So here's the 2 old houses, and across this road right here is the museum. I am so sorry if that's so complicated. You know what? Maybe I should just draw it out. If I can learn how to animate, I would totally do that. So yes, my mom's house is right here. Old Victorian homes, street right here, museum, street right here, museum. bunch of houses right here. I have no idea if that is like making any sense at all. This museum that we're at over here, there's also one street lamp outside of that museum. But there's nothing illuminating the road going between the museum and those old Victorian homes across the street. There's no street lamps over there, so keep that in mind. Now that you guys have a kind of crappy visualization of what I'm talking about, I'm gonna look into drawing for you guys, I promise. There was the museum, and then there was a smaller kind of shack outside of it, and between the two there was a lot of shrubs, a lot of bushes, a lot of large trees, a little grassy area, and these old like cobblestone stairs that led up to the museum from the sidewalk. So that was one of our favorite spots to hang out at night because, one, it was close to home. If a cop, you're not supposed to be out past a certain time in my hometown. And so if a cop showed up, we could just walk home and be like, oh, like we were just taking a break, but we were out for a stroll. Don't do what I did. Don't do anything illegal. We enjoyed that little spot because it kind of felt secluded. It kind of felt not sheltered, but kind of, it felt as if, you know, if a car was driving by, they couldn't really see us. We were blocked on either side by a building, so either the art museum or the old little shack that used to be a part of the museum. And we would hang out on the steps and we could easily duck behind this wall, and there was bushes everywhere. So we just felt, you know, we felt more secure. Basically, like we couldn't be seen. On this particular night, we decided to get some snacks. We got some blankets. We decided to roll out a little midnight moonlight picnic and just talk about our hopes and dreams, you know, talk about our futures. He was a musician. He was a drummer. So he always wanted to talk about music. He was just getting into live shows. I wanted to be an artist, and I was only going to cosmetology school as kind of like a filler to figure out what I wanted to do. And so I was actually contemplating dropping out at the time. So we had plenty to talk about. And I was convinced I was going to make my own tarot deck. We basically just talked about our hopes and dreams. Band and tarot deck. So we were hanging out, we were chilling, we were having a good old time. So I had my little hot cocoa and our snacks. I also have my little cigarette. And I was laying down on my back and I was just looking up at the stars, listening to him while he talked. This was a long time ago, so I think I had either a sidekick or I just got an iPhone. This was like the transitional time. So he was playing music occasionally, but I don't know if it was through an iPhone or an iPod. That's how long ago this was. Anyways, so I'm laying there, I'm looking at the stars, I'm enjoying myself. And he's sitting next to me, but on his stomach, and he's got his like elbows kind of propped up, and he's on his little phone or something. I don't remember exactly. So he's doing his own thing, and we're talking when out of nowhere he says, "Valentine." And I look at him and say, "Yeah, what's up?" And he says, I see something out into the distance, like near your house, but I don't know what it is." So I roll over and I look, and I'm kind of like, real quick side note, I'm nearsighted. So it's very hard for me to make out details of things far away. Essentially what I say is, if I want to live in HD, I should wear my glasses. If I want to live in a crisp, vibrant world, I should wear my glasses. So he's asking me, "Do you see that?" And I'm over there like, yeah, you know, I think I see that. Is it a dog? And he says to me, "I don't think that's a dog. I don't know. Like, if that's a dog, it's a really strange looking dog." So I'm looking and I'm squinting, and it's about a medium to large sized dog is what I was thinking. It was stark white, very, very short hair. I couldn't make out hair, so I just assumed very short haired. It didn't have a tail, so a tall, long-legged, on all fours, very white dog with no tail. I couldn't make out any ears, but again, I'm kind of blind at this point. I'm kind of just like, yeah, it's just a white dog. Like, whatever. So I don't think anything of it. However, Froggy, Mr. Froggy, is sitting there thinking, yeah, no, that doesn't look like a regular dog. I can see that it looks really thin. Its rib cage looked kind of pronounced from that far away. It just looked very thin towards the tail, like towards the hip stomach area, and the rib cage looked large. So I'm thinking it's probably just a malnourished albino dog. I had an Australian Shepherd. She didn't have a tail. She had a little nub. So I didn't really think much of it. And he's over there just kind of bugging out. He's kind of creeped out, and he's staring and he's staring, and he just keeps saying, man, it just doesn't look right. Like it doesn't look right to me. I really wasn't concerned. I didn't think anything of it all. I don't know if it was because I couldn't see well. I don't know if it's because he had a better view than I did. So, here's my mom's house and the little street lamp. Right over here was an old school, and it was very dark. There was no lights right there, and that's where it was. And it was it looked as if it was looking around, semi-confused, exploring its surroundings. It didn't look as if the dog was familiar with this area. It was kind of moving slowly from one side of the street to the other side of the street. And again, I guess that's another reason why I didn't find it alarming. It wasn't running rampant. It wasn't running amok. It wasn't running as if it was rabid or crazed. And I'm not afraid of a lot of animals. I grew up in the country. So he continues to watch this thing. He's very, very weirded out by it. I've moved on. I'm over there thinking, whatever. So I get up, I prepare some snacks, I do my thing. I don't know what I was doing, but I was plenty distracted. I remember I wasn't giving it much thought. So we continue on, we talk about more things, and he's over here like, I'm listening, but I still have my eye on this weird creature, which was good on him. He was definitely more alert than I was. We just kind of continue our thing. So went to mention at this point, I'm starting to get semi-irritated with him. I wanted him to pay more attention to me at this point. I didn't think the dog was anything to be concerned about. So I was kind of suggesting that he was semi-paranoid. He smoked weed and I did not. I don't smoke weed at all. I can't smoke. If I smoke, I get extremely anxious. I get super amped. It's not a good experience for me. However, for him, it did the exact opposite. It was very calming. It was very centering. He would use it before going to sleep to help him fall asleep. He had a lot of anxiety and insomnia. So he had smoked. I started thinking maybe this was making him paranoid. So I told him like, hey, I want you to relax. I want you to have a good time. I think you're getting a little bit paranoid about that thing. Like, it's just a dog. It's not a big deal. And so he's like, okay, you know what? I think you're right. I think I'm fixating on it too much. So he stops. He lets his eyes drift away from the white dog. So he turns around and we kind of put our backs to the dog now. We're not looking at it. We're talking, we're laughing. And of course, eventually he's kind of like, can I see it? And that's when he says, oh, I think it went away. Like I don't see it anymore. I'm thinking, okay, cool. It's gone. It's not a big deal. It's gone. It's chill, whatever. So we just do our own thing. We're laying down. We're looking at the moon. Maybe 20, 30 minutes go by. We're sitting up and he's talking to me about this show coming up. I distinctly remember it was either like his first or second show. He was talking to me about one of his band members and how they were super talented and he felt like really, really happy to be a part of that group. He was mid-sentence talking about this other friend of his when all of a sudden we hear, if you're wearing headphones, this is a warning. When all of a sudden we hear, like super loud. Both him and I duck. So we had moved over to the steps. So we were sitting on the steps. So it's coming from the old Victorian home where it's dark. And so we immediately duck down and we kind of get closer on the stairwell and we get behind that wall. And we're thinking, what the heck was that? Immediately, I'm thinking there's a woman who is hurt because it sounded like a female screaming. Not La Llorona style, not a weeping woman. This was a like scream. And it was a long scream. We're looking around thinking, holy shit, what the was that? What was that? So we're looking around. I don't see anything. And he starts hitting me and he's like, look. And so I look and I'm like, what is it? And he points and they're one of the oldest homes in my hometown. is right there on that corner. It's 3 stories tall. It has this old dumbwaiter. It has this amazing, really extravagant side door, like entrance, and this huge wraparound porch. And there's a wraparound porch on the 2nd floor and a wraparound porch on the 3rd floor. It's gorgeous, and it's completely surrounded by a wrought iron gate. There's giant trees all around this area, and it's completely abandoned. It's been abandoned since I was a little kid. I've never seen anyone live in that house. And on top of that, my mom and her family know the family that owns that house. So that house has been owned by the same family basically since its creation, and they haven't lived in that house for almost 70 years. It's just been sitting there. Obviously someone is someone's keeping up with it. It doesn't look completely run down. It does look kind of abandoned though, because of the yard. The yard looks a little bit crazy, but the actual house still looks glorious and really gorgeous. But that house has a bunch of weird tales about it, legends about it. There's this whole story about how you can hear piano music playing from one of the open windows on the 3rd story. My grandmother herself has told me that she's heard piano music playing from that house. There's a window on the 3rd floor that sometimes is cracked open, which people are like, no one lives in that house, so why is it cracked open? Weird. So this creature, this white thing, is sitting outside of that old house, outside of the wrought iron gate, and it's screaming. So now it's a lot closer to us than it was before. I would say it's about 6 cars length away from us now, and maybe even less than that, honestly. So we're staring at it, and that's when I'm able to see it a little bit better, and it doesn't have a tail. It doesn't have a nub. It's extremely skinny, borderline impossible skinny on the hind, haunches and its stomach. And it has extremely long limbs, and I can't make out any ears, and its head looks smushed. So it doesn't have a long snout. It doesn't have a long muzzle. It looks almost kind of flattened. So it does protrude out, but it looked flattened. Front haunches are rising up, and it's kind of sitting on its back legs. Like if you were to give a dog a treat and say sit, and it props up, that's what this thing was doing. And every time it would prop up and almost howl, but it was like this scream, like a woman screaming. So Froggy and I are watching this shit, and we're hiding. And he says to me, we need to book it to my Jeep. Oh, I totally forgot to mention that. Luckily, thank the heavens above, he, for some reason, I don't remember exactly. I don't know if maybe we had gone on a cruise, but for some reason we had his Jeep parked a little bit further down the street in the opposite direction of this creature and my mom's house. So he would always park it a little bit further down. So if a cop showed up, it would look like it was parked outside of a person's house and not outside of the museum. But luckily it wasn't in the direction of this thing. Froggy's over there like, we need to book it for my car. I don't know what the hell that is. And I'm over here thinking, we've got my picnic basket, we've got our blankets, we've got all of our things. And he's like, no, grab your purse, grab your essentials. But that's it. We're booking for the car and we're leaving because I don't know what that thing is. So he's in damage control, kind of protective mode, and I'm just kind of freaking out. I don't think that's a dog. Like, oh, okay, maybe you were right to be a little worried because I don't know what that is. Grab my stuff. I grab my cigarettes. And we kind of quietly trot down the steps. And so he's keeping an eye on it. I don't know what it's doing at this point. All I'm thinking is my ass needs to get to his Jeep. So I'm hunched down and I start speed walking real quick, hunched down on the sidewalk towards his Jeep, when all of a sudden he says, Valentine, go. The hair on the back of my neck starts standing up because I'm thinking he's watching it. So he knows if it's looking at us or if it's coming at us. And from his voice, I'm thinking it's coming at us. So I start running, running for his Jeep. And I hear, again, super loud. And I am like, Like, let me scream with this creature into the night because I'm bugging. I'm freaking out. So we get to his Jeep and I turn around to look. And I can't see it. I don't see it anywhere. It's not in my sight, which freaks me out more. I'm thinking, where is it? And so he unlocks the Jeep. I get inside. He gets inside. And instantly I'm thinking, you have a soft top. You have a soft top Jeep. If there's a monster outside, it can just rip open his stupid freaking Jeep. I know people don't buy cars thinking potentially if there's monsters outside, maybe I shouldn't have a soft top. But in that moment, I was kind of irritated with him for having a soft top. So he gets in and I'm like, go, go. We take off, super weird, super sketched out. And he is just wide-eyed because he had never had anything weird happen in his life. He had never had any supernatural experiences, no cryptid, no weird monster, anything, like nothing. Like, this is a straight-laced dude. Nothing strange has happened in his life. If anything, he was a disbeliever. We're driving around and he's just, man, what was that? What was that? And I got nothing. You know, it's a lot easier for me to accept that there are things out there that I just don't know what they are. So I was kind of just, yeah, I don't know, man. weird shit. That was weird for sure. And he was just, what was it? You know, and he was like, I don't want to go home. And I'm like, bitch, I don't want to go home. That thing was right down the street from my mom's house. Like, that was weird. So we decided that the next day we were going to get up and go get our bags, our belongings, our little picnic basket, whatever. I think we drove around for maybe like 30-40 minutes. And then we went to my mom's house. And I mean, when I say we ran inside the house, we ran. Because we didn't know if that thing was still out there. So we ran inside my mom's house, locked the door, and then we went to bed. That was it. Next morning, we go, we see our things, we get our stuff. That's that. About a week goes by, maybe a couple of weeks go by. We've kind of just moved on. We've told all of our friends. We had a big like, whoa, man, that was crazy. We don't know what it was. We had our moment, you know, telling everyone about our really strange experience. We moved on. We kind of, you know, life goes on. Like I said in the beginning, he lived in the same general vicinity. It's not extremely close, but it is close enough. It must have been around midnight or so, a couple of weeks after it happened. I was a huge gamer. I played World of Warcraft religiously every single day. I was very into PvP. I was very into my guild. I was like a guild manager. I took my responsibilities very seriously. I had a gaming desktop, but when I was like, you know, doing minor quests, little fun stuff, I would game on my little laptop. So I was laying in bed, had my laptop, I was doing my thing. I was probably like questing or leveling an alt or something. And I'm sitting there again, it's got to be around like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. Also, my mom was not home. As per usual, she worked at bars and, like I said in the last video, biker rallies. She would either sometimes be gone for a weekend or she would just be working late, and she would probably get home closer to about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Playing my games, I think it's about midnight-ish. I'm doing my thing when all of a sudden I'm just do, and I hear again, super loud, right outside my window. And I'm like, whoa! Laptop flying off of my lap. I get up, I run to the freaking door, and I turn off my lights. Like I mentioned before, I'm super paranoid about things being able to see me from like inside of a house and I can't see it. I turn off the lights and I go into the bathroom because I know it's on that street. I know it's on that street. And in the bathroom, there's a window, but it's really high up. So you need a little step stool. So I get a little step stool, I put it down, and I'm like, trying to like peek over the little window to see if I can see it outside. Sure enough, it's right outside my home. It's sniffing the ground over and over and over again, kind of like a dog would. Again, has no tail. At this point, it looks hairless to me. I don't see any hair. I don't see any ears. Again, its muzzle is really flat. It's longer, but it then is flattened. So I'm staring at it, and suddenly it like perks up as if it hears something, and I'm like, don't breathe. And boom, it takes off lightning fast, Whereas the other night, I felt like it was moving really slow, kind of confused. Tonight, it takes off like a freaking rocket. And I'm thinking, who can I call? Froggy. I can call Froggy. So I get down, I grab my phone, and I go to call him when, boom, my phone starts vibrating. Actually, I don't know if it vibrated back then. It might have just been ringing. I really don't know how phones worked back then. It was a long time ago. So my phone's going off and I see that it's Froggy. So I pick up the phone and I'm like, Froggy, you won't believe. And he's like, Valentine. And I can hear in his voice, something's going down. So I say, yeah, what's up? And in the background, I can hear it going, wah, outside of his freaking house. And he's like, it's at my house, it's at my house. And I'm thinking, what the hell? It was here less than a minute ago. I mean, like, there's no way a minute had gone by. So I'm thinking, what the hell? Is there more than one? Or is that thing just that fast? Again, same neighborhood, but not comfortable walking distance. So I tell him, dude, it was outside of my home. Like this, it was just here. And I grabbed my phone to call you to tell you about it. And he's like, I don't know what to tell you. It's outside of my house and it's screaming. So both of us are thinking, what the hell? How is it? How did it get there that fast? And two, does it know where we live? Like, what is it doing outside of our homes? And for me, I didn't think that at first because it was kind of in my mom's area the first time. So I didn't think anything of it. I just thought like, okay, it's just been circulating this area. But for it to then go outside of his house, I'm like, does it have our scent? And Froggy goes, we left our basket and our blankets. What if it sniffed it or something? And I'm like, no, thank you. That is a weird thought. That is a weird, bleh. No. So I'm like, dude, I want you to come here. I don't want to be alone. And he's like, I don't want to leave my house. Like, it's outside of my house right now. I tell him, if you get a chance, please leave your house and come to me because I am so scared. I am literally on the verge of tears, freaked out. The whole scent thing really messed with me. I get off the phone with him and I call my mom and I'm like, Mom, you need to come home early. I'm really scared. There's this white creature outside the house screaming. And she's like, okay, I'm on my way. The good thing about having a mom who's experienced just as many, if not more, strange experiences, paranormal, cryptid, like she herself has seen a screaming creature before and it didn't look anything like this, but she has seen something like that. She was very empathetic and was like, I'm on my way home, baby. I got you. Mama's coming. So she then leaves her work, comes home, and eventually Froggy ends up coming over to my house and we're all sitting there, we're talking about it, and she's just like, I don't know what it is. So we had that first experience where we saw it together, and then we had this second experience where we saw it separately and it screamed outside of our homes. Had one final experience. It was about a week or two later. Froggy was spending the night at my house and we were both playing WoW. We both had our little laptops. We were laying in my bed playing World of Warcraft together. Must have been probably 1 o'clock in the morning-ish around that time. Again, was outside of my window because my window was nearest to the road. It was just screaming. So we went into the bathroom, we looked at through the upper window, and it just does this like weird sit on its hind haunches and just screaming. And then it took off. I've never experienced anything like that since, not screaming like that. And I haven't experienced a white creature like that. I have other creature experiences, but nothing similar to that nature. Who knows? I have no idea. I have no clue what that thing is. My mom kind of did the rundown of different animals. Anytime you experience something weird and you tell someone who's not a skeptic, but people just want to rationalize it, you know? My mom was thinking, you know, maybe it was a wild dog, and it could have been potentially a portal jumping albino hairless dog. But my mom was like, maybe it's a dog. I was like, maybe. She said maybe it was a fox. I'm like, I don't think foxes can get that big because foxes do have a weird kind of scream. So I did think of that, but this was much too large to be a fox. We do have coyotes. Again, it would have to be a pretty fucked up, gnarly coyote. And then the last thing she suggested was it could potentially have been a peacock, which probably sounds very strange to normal, sane people. Our neighbor did have 3 peacocks, and peacocks do have a really unpleasant kind of screamish caw that they do, especially during, I think, mating season. But I've heard it before, and I also saw it. It was not a peacock. Peacocks are not all white, hairless, and on 4 legs. I don't know what is with people bringing up. There's this one thing that I'll end up telling you guys about in the future. But I saw this really strange creature again, and I was telling my dad about it because I was freaking out. It was in his house. First thing that came to his mind, he was like, "Was it a raccoon?" I'm like, if it were a raccoon, I would have said, "Dad, I saw a raccoon." Not, "Dad, I saw a fucking demon." Honestly, like, I don't know what part of that story that I told him, like what detail of this weird ethereal creature that I've never seen before made him think, you know what that sounds like? A fucking raccoon. I don't know. I don't know. We rationalize in the strangest ways. Anyways, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this little tale. It was a strange night that forever went down into the history of our relationship. Remember when we first started dating and we saw that weird white thing that caught our scent and came to our house? But okay, all right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this little tale. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can also thumbs down. I totally get it. No hard feelings. I've had a lot of people reach out to me about the whistling man and how they've had similar encounters. And I have loved hearing y'all's stories and reading it in the comments, reading it on Instagram. So please let me know if you've heard of anything like this before, or if you've had an experience like this before. I genuinely enjoy reading these comments. It makes me feel like, okay, I found my community. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram. That is basically the only thing I'm active on. Potentially TikTok later down the road. Who knows? All right, guys. Thank you and have a wonderful night. Goodbye.